Hello everybody, welcome back to Red Tool House. On our YouTube channel we talk about all things homesteading and try to implement some of those things on our rural 100 acres here in southern West Virginia. Well, today I want to talk about, what's growing in that thing? Today I want to talk about dual purpose chickens. Any of y'all that raise chickens, you know that there's all kinds of different classifications for the different breeds. But there's a specific group of breeds called dual purpose. And the claim behind that is a dual purpose chicken lays a lot of eggs, but is also a heavy framed bird or a heavy body bird that's justifiable to be a meat bird. So you can make a fryer out of it, or a stew bird, whatever the case may be. So what are some of these dual purpose birds? Well, there's the Rhode Island Reds. There's all the different rocks. You got your barred rock, you got your Plymouth rock, you got your light rock. That's not a bird. But you know, some of the Wyandottes, I believe some of the Orpingtons fall in the category. Basically any of the birds that are the heavier build. All good egg layers, but are they really good meat chickens? So we're going to do an experiment here today. And we're going to, unfortunately, the volunteer for the experiment, he's not going to like the end of this. What we have is this uninvited guest. This is Cletus. Cletus came with all the Australorps that we ordered, and Cletus is supposed to be a hen, but he is not very hen-like. He's been crowing, he's got nice big feathers, he's definitely a rooster. So one definitely slipped past the goalie there at the brooder that we got these from. So it's time to dispatch Cletus. We don't need any more roosters around here. We have enough as it is. So a couple videos ago, we showed a video where we were moving our chickens from here, the juvenile egg layers, and banded their legs and put them in with general population with all the rest of our egg layers. So we left Cletus behind because, again, I didn't want him in there with the other roosters. He's actually a decently looking bird, but we'll see actually how he butchers out. I don't think he's too impressed with the idea. So Cletus is actually about 24 weeks old. So he's definitely getting a little long in the beak when it comes to processing a chicken. But when you compare that, that's kind of the discussion here, is comparing that against an 8-week run of Cornish cross, you little spook, Cornish cross chickens that you get 8 to 10 weeks out of versus going 24 weeks with something like this. Now again, we could have butchered him at 12 weeks, but he had been much, much smaller. He's definitely a smaller bird then. So we're going to process him out and see what we get. So first we need to cuff him and stuff him. Can you? Back. No. So lock the door, close the gate. Okay, so we're going to introduce Cletus to the cone. If you're a little squeamish, this is the part where you may want to turn away. But don't leave us, just fast forward. I'll maybe make a little note up here of where you can fast forward to. You've got broken toes, son. What's wrong with your toes? Get out of my mic cable. I love how the killing cone just really subdues these chickens. Okay, while Cletus drifts off, we'll discuss a little bit. Now again, I realize this isn't a scientific experiment. There's not an apples to apples comparison saying, is a dual purpose breed going to come anywhere close to a Cornish cross? We know that's not the case. But my argument would be is, those of you that are just getting into chickens, you say, well, I want chickens to eat and I want chickens to lay eggs. You think, I'm going to get a dual purpose breed and I can have both. Well, if you're basing that on the premise of having hens that are going to go through their egg laying peak, so you're going to have them for that 1.5 to 2 years where they really producing a lot of eggs, and on the downhill side of that you're going to process them because they're a heavy bird. You can do that, but just don't expect those to be good fryer chickens. Those are going to be more of a stew chicken or a soup chicken because they're going to be a little tough. They have a nice flavor to them, but they're going to be a little tough. And the same here, you think about, we incubate from time to time on our place. Our Australorp roosters and our Australorp hens produce baby Australorps, of course. So we usually get, the average on that is about 60-40 or 55-45 as far as roosters versus hens. So you always end up with more roosters. So in that situation, say, well, just grow out the roosters, process those, grow out your hens for egg laying. And you can do that, and we've done that in the past. But when you go to process a bunch of roosters that are 14, 15, 16 weeks old, then you really don't get a lot of production out of that. I mean, you're going to get maybe a 3.5 pound bird or a 4 pound bird unless you really lay the protein to them. And when you start doing that and you look at feed conversion ratios, you're better off going with a Cornish cross. Well, he's gone. Welcome back to some of you that skipped ahead. So while a dual purpose bird may make sense, maybe even from a prepper stance to say, well, I've got one chicken that can serve both purposes, yeah, that maybe makes sense at that point. But if you're really looking to get a good feed conversion ratio, good time, again, time is money in this situation, even if it's just you're raising for yourselves, for your family. If you've got a chicken that's got to go to 14 weeks to even get close to being the weight of a Cornish cross, or in this situation where we're 24 weeks, and this is a decent sized bird, I mean, he may be 4.5 pounds. We'll see. See if I can put my money where my mouth is here. Then you can just see that amount of time on pasture or on feed or wherever you've got them, there's a lot of money and time involved in that. So a dual purpose bird is just that. It can serve as both a meat chicken and an egg layer, but it may not be the most efficient when you're looking at it from the meat perspective. So we're going to skin him out. So we're obviously going to lose a little bit of weight on taking the skin off. I'm not taking the time to pluck one chicken. We'll skin him out, but we'll account for that when we weigh him. Okay, now that we've got him undressed, we'll take him up to the house and finish him off, clean him out. Not too bad. Since I obviously didn't cover skinning this, we've done a video on that before. I'll link to it up here. It's our video, how to process chickens without chicken processing equipment. And it shows how we skin them out and do them all by hand. So you can check that out. But we're going to take Cletus up, get him cleaned out, get him cleaned out, and get him on the scale. Okay, so we got Cletus looking more chicken-like here. Again, for those of you that are squeamish, I spared you all the other parts. But you can see this size bird, again, decent sized bird, but for 24 weeks, not really very proficient. And the thing to really point out is the breast size in this situation. Again, you can see here's the keel bone, here's the two breasts. Just not a lot of weight, not a lot of girth to those breasts. In a Cornish cross, you'd have a nice curve here of both sides of breast. And again, we know that's because of the breeding and the different genetics there. So you look and say, well, a dual-purpose bird, there is some meat. I mean, this is still worth roasting. If it was a little younger, this one will probably end up in a stew or in soup for us. But you can just see it's just not as big as what you'd expect from a Cornish. Now, legs look good. Does have good drumstick, good thighs, but just not the breast meat. And of course, that's what everybody's looking for. And one bad thing, I know I've talked about this in other videos, when you butcher chicken, even when you skin them out, a black chicken, you always get those little pin feathers, look like little hairs everywhere. So you still got to do all that detail. And of course, with a black chicken, those black, they show up much more than a white chicken or a lighter bird chicken. So we're going to get him inside, get him bagged up, and then we'll put him on the scale and see. Okay, so it's the next day, and I put Cletus in the freezer yesterday, so here he is all chilled down. What I decided to do is grab one of our smaller birds. So this is one of our Cornish cross that we processed earlier this year. This is a 5.46, it's about 5.5 pounds. And this is on the smaller side. We averaged about 6.5 pounds when we processed our 100 chickens. So if we're going to put this on the scale here, and let's just do the old Pepsi challenge. We'll zero it out. And we'll put Cletus on there. So there we go, so 4.16, so just a little over 4 pounds. And just so we're not lying here, 5.46 there. So what's the takeaway? Well, again, if you're getting dual purpose birds for both egg laying and meat production, they can work. Eggs, we like the black Australorp because they're one of the most prolific egg layers, and we've done videos about that. So we go with those for egg layers. But to raise a bunch of Australorp roosters just for the sole purpose of meat production, because you think you may get them cheaper or you've incubated them, then what you're going to save there, you're going to lose in feed and production. So here's a 24-week-old bird that is still, what, 1.5 pounds, just almost 1.5 pounds lighter than one of my smallest birds that was processed in 9 weeks. So, and again, if you look at the breast meat on that Cornish cross, this is the breast meat. You can see how that breast is very rounded. A lot of breast meat there, whereas, where's the breast on Cletus here? There's a wing. Yeah, here. You can see that would be the breast, that part of the curve. So just a major difference there in the size of the breast. And again, breast meat and everything. But that's why, Cletus is not a total loss. He'll be a good stew chicken or a good soup chicken. So there is some value in it, but the takeaway is I don't think a dual purpose bird, don't get caught up in the fact that, hey, this can be a meat chicken and this can be an egg chicken and I've got the best of both worlds. I think there's definitely an opportunity to take advantage of both depending on what you're trying to do. Well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe below and check us out on our website at redtoolhouse.com. Take care, everybody.